Success is not searching for the ordinary. It does not seek out the man who is content to merely exist, nor does it follow the footsteps of the man who waits for permission to rise. Success is drawn, like a magnet, to the individual who has forged himself through discipline, will, and a definite purpose. If you want to attract success, you must become the kind of person it cannot ignore. And to become that, you must rebuild yourself, not partially, not occasionally, but entirely. Your current condition is not a life sentence. It is a signal. It is the alarm that calls for the death of your present limitations and the rebirth of your highest potential. To begin this transformation, you must study your own thoughts. Your thoughts are the raw materials from which you build your future. What you believe about yourself becomes the boundary of your possibilities. What you permit to dominate your inner dialogue becomes your outer reality. No man can rebuild himself while harboring the belief that he is undeserving of greatness. You must first decide clearly, firmly, that you are not here to remain as you are. You are here to grow, to conquer, to ascend. This begins when you take control of your mental soil and uproot the weeds of fear, doubt, procrastination, and indecision. Every great structure begins with excavation. So must your mind. There must be no confusion about what rebuilding entails. It is not merely adopting new habits or speaking words of encouragement. It is about transforming your entire mode of operation, how you think, how you decide, how you respond to challenge, and how you carry yourself in silence when no one is watching. It requires brutal honesty. You must confront what is weak within you, not with judgment, but with a commitment to rise above it. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. It is a contract with discipline. It is the daily rejection of what is easy in favor of what is essential. And if you stay true to it, you will evolve into the very person success has been waiting to meet. You must now understand that character is your foundation. The man who seeks to build without character builds on sand. Character is forged in private decisions. It is solidified when you keep a promise no one else hears. It is strengthened when you choose patience over impulse, integrity over convenience, and resolve over comfort. Without character, all your talents, your intelligence, your dreams become liabilities, not assets. They become tools you cannot wield. But with character, even your flaws become fuel. Your past failures, your disappointments, your scars, these become the bricks with which you construct a fortress of strength. Character turns chaos into order. It is the invisible thread that pulls success towards you. Do not expect this rebuild to be quick. Anything of lasting value requires time, repetition, and resilience. You will not arrive at excellence through occasional effort. You must live in pursuit every single day. The man who builds himself anew does not take days off from purpose. He does not seek applause. He seeks alignment. Alignment between who he says he is and what he does when tested. This is the root of inner power. It is not external praise that proves your transformation. It is your own private knowing that you no longer operate from weakness. When your habits align with your values, when your standards match your vision, success will be unable to resist your gravity. Discipline is the architect of your rebuild. Every small act of consistency is a brick. Every refusal to compromise with laziness is a window installed. Every morning you rise with purpose is a roof laid. Soon you will look around and see that you have become unrecognizable to your former self. This is how you evolve, not by announcement, not by wish, but by daily decisions made in alignment with your purpose. Let others chase shortcuts. Let them market illusion. You, however, are building substance. You are becoming someone who commands results because your life is built on principle, not trends, not noise, not chance. A vital part of this transformation is removing what no longer belongs. Many men fail not because they lack talent, but because they refuse to release the habits, relationships, and thoughts that restricted their growth. You cannot become who success seeks while clinging to behaviors that diminish your power. Cleanse your environment. Examine your routine. Audit your associations. Anything that dilutes your clarity or diverts your energy must be replaced. Not later, now. The man who rebuilds does not compromise with mediocrity. He knows that elevation requires separation. This is not cruelty. It is necessity. And if it hurts, let it. That pain will pass. What remains will be freedom. Let us now speak of vision. You cannot rebuild without a clear and definite vision of who you are becoming. This vision must burn in your mind. It must direct your choices, your speech, your priorities. Do not carry a vague idea of success. Define it. Define the man who commands it. What does he think? What does he tolerate? How does he behave when tired, disrespected, overlooked? The clearer your image, the stronger your direction. Most men fail because they chase results instead of becoming the person who earns them. Results are not goals. They are reflections. If you want different results, become a different reflection. Confidence will not arrive before you act. It will arrive because you acted. Many men wait to feel ready. They wait for some spark of motivation, some external proof of their worth. That wait is the death of potential. Confidence is not a feeling. It is the result of daily integrity. Every time you show up when it would be easier not to, your confidence grows. Every time you finish what you start, you cast a vote for the man you are becoming. Soon, you will no longer need to convince yourself that you can. You will simply know, not because you believed blindly, but because you saw the evidence in your own behavior. Now, let us return to your mind. You must master it. You must become its ruler, not its servant. Your thoughts must obey your will, not dictate your direction. This means training your mind to remain calm under stress, clear under chaos, focused under fatigue. It means rejecting distractions not because they are immoral, but because they are irrelevant. The man who rebuilds himself does not entertain every impulse. He is not swayed by emotion. He does not surrender to convenience. His mind is a tool, not a master. And through repetition, meditation, and reflection, he sharpens it until it becomes a weapon of purpose. Your actions must be precise. Rebuilding requires efficiency. This means focusing not on doing more, but on doing what matters most. It means designing your day, not reacting to it. Time is your building material. How you spend it determines what you construct. If your hours are spent in aimless consumption, you will build a life of emptiness. But if your hours are invested in intentional creation, you will build legacy. Do not let urgency replace importance. Do not confuse movement with progress. Be deliberate. Be structured. Let every action serve your vision. Let every decision reinforce your standards. And let no excuse survive your audit. Remember, success is a mirror. It does not give you what you want. It shows you what you are. If it is absent, it is because you are not yet its equal. That is not criticism. That is opportunity. It means you have room to ascend. It means your work is not in waiting, but in becoming. This is the most empowering truth in the world. You are not stuck. You are simply unrefined, and refinement is always within your control. Through thought, through discipline, through focus, through relentless self-examination, you can evolve. You can rebuild. And you can become the person success has been circling, waiting to recognize. To build yourself into the person success seeks, you must now go beyond thought and reflection and enter the territory of unwavering self-command. The man who shapes his destiny is the man who understands that direction is not inherited, it is engineered. He does not wait for life to instruct him. He instructs life by the clarity of his decisions, and every decision is born of principles. When your actions are guided by principle, you no longer fear outcomes. For you know that whether the result is triumph or test, you acted in harmony with your purpose. This inner congruence is power. It is what sets apart the man who moves mountains from the one who merely moves in circles. There must come a moment when you make a final decision that the version of you that was controlled by distraction, weakened by comfort, and addicted to validation has no place in your future. And that moment must not be emotional. It must be absolute. A man does not rebuild his life through feelings. He rebuilds through law. The law of cause and effect, the law of compensation, the law of persistence, these are not poetic ideas. These are the blueprints of power. Violate them and you regress. Align with them and you rise. Your feelings may tempt you to quit. The laws will demand that you continue. Let the laws lead. The next law you must study is the law of sacrifice. Every great advancement requires a corresponding relinquishment. You cannot ascend while carrying the weight of everything that once served your comfort. The man who climbs must release, not because what he releases is evil, but because it is no longer aligned. Old beliefs, old routines, old associations, these must be reviewed with surgical precision. Keep only what strengthens you. Remove what distracts, even if it once served you. Success rewards the man who is willing to release good in order to reach great. There is no elevation without elimination. You must also embrace the law of repetition. Transformation is not made by a single burst of effort, but by steady, repeated action. Consistency is the hammer that breaks through resistance. The man who shows up daily, who commits to his craft even when unseen, will surpass the one who waits for ideal conditions. The conditions you seek are not found. They are formed through action. Every day you execute, you engrave a new identity. Every day you refuse to waver. You reinforce your evolution. Your future is not a matter of luck. It is the compounded result of small, focused acts executed with precision. There is another truth I must now impart. Your words are tools of creation. Speak carelessly, and you build confusion. Speak with clarity, and you build direction. The man who commands success does not speak to impress. He speaks to instruct. He speaks with purpose, both inwardly and outwardly. He tells himself who he is becoming, not what he fears. He affirms his identity through language that reinforces his discipline. Do not speak weakness into your plan. Do not give voice to doubt. The mind obeys the words it hears most. Let your words be commands, not complaints. Let them shape the image of the man success recognizes. You must now cultivate the law of environment. A seed cannot flourish in poisoned soil, and neither can your potential thrive in a chaotic, misaligned setting. Your environment includes your space, your routines, your influences, and your input. Audit them all. Is your space built for focus or distraction? Do your routines promote energy or erosion? Do the voices you permit elevate your vision or dilute your belief? A man who is serious about rebuilding himself does not tolerate environments that mirror his past. He creates an atmosphere of elevation, one where everything supports his progress and nothing drags him into stagnation. Now turn inward again. The most critical law of all, the law of definiteness of purpose. Without a clear, burning aim, a man is like a ship without a rudder. He may move, but he will drift. You must define your purpose so clearly that it becomes the gravitational force of your existence. All decisions must orbit this aim. All effort must be measured against its advancement. Do not confuse business with direction. A man with no aim can labor tirelessly and still remain stagnant. But the man with a definite purpose, even in stillness, builds momentum. Success is attracted to the man who moves with clarity. Let us speak of obstacles. They will come, but they are not your enemy. They are your instructors. The man who is rebuilding must stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Resistance is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the shaping force that strengthens your resolve, sharpens your mind, and humbles your ego. The obstacle is not blocking your path, it is forging it. Meet it with the understanding that every difficulty carries within it the seed of equal or greater advantage. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. Next, apply the law of action. Ideas without execution are fantasies. Plans without movement are illusions. A man who wishes to rebuild himself must become a man of immediate execution. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for perfect timing. The moment you receive an insight, act. The moment you decide, move. Every delay weakens your will. Every excuse strengthens your comfort zone. Discipline is not developed in theory, it is forged in action. Action clarifies. Action cures fear. Action creates evidence. And it is through action that you prove to the universe that you are serious about becoming the man success is looking for. Closely tied to this is the law of habit. You are not the sum of your dreams. You are the sum of your repeated behaviors. Your habits form the identity you project to the world. Examine them. Every unconscious behavior, every autopilot decision is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. Replace weak habits with strong ones, consciously, consistently. Morning routines, nightly reviews, goal tracking, reading, reflection, deliberate rest. These are not luxuries, they are necessities. The man who controls his habits controls his future. For success does not respond to wishes. It responds to structure. Let us return to your mind. You must now practice mental discipline. This means thinking intentionally, not reactively. It means choosing your focus, your interpretations, and your self-talk. The undisciplined mind is a slave to external events. The disciplined mind commands meaning. Two men can face the same event. One grows, the other collapses. The difference? Interpretation. You must train your mind to extract power from pressure, meaning from difficulty, and vision from adversity. This is not delusion, it is mastery. It is how great men rise while others remain confined. Control your focus and you control your emotions. Control your emotions and you control your actions. Control your actions and you shape your destiny. Let us also consider the law of persistence. No rebuild is linear. There will be days of setback, doubt, and fatigue, but these are not signals to retreat. They are signals to reaffirm your commitment. The man who endures becomes the man who evolves. Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they abandon the process. Persistence is the rarest trait of the successful. It is the invisible separator. It does not make noise. It does not seek recognition, but it wins every single time. Commit to being the man who never breaks, not because it's easy, but because it's required. You must also understand the law of belief. What you believe about yourself becomes the ceiling of your results. You cannot outperform your identity. If you believe you are destined for mediocrity, no amount of effort will raise your outcomes. You will always find ways to sabotage or shrink your results to match your inner picture. But if you rebuild your belief system, if you see yourself as powerful, resilient, unstoppable, your behavior will follow. So protect your belief like treasure. Guard it from mockery, doubt, and discouragement. Rehearse it daily. Speak it clearly, and act in alignment with it even before the evidence appears. Finally, you must live by the law of intentional growth. Do not aim to merely succeed. Aim to become. Every day ask, how have I improved? How have I strengthened my mind, my will, my capacity? Do not let days pass without expansion. Growth is not an accident. It is a demand, and it is measured not in comfort but in challenge. The man who grows wins, because he is always rising above yesterday's self. He is always adding tools, sharpening skills, and deepening wisdom. This man becomes so rare that success finds him by necessity. For the world is starving for strength, and you, rebuilt, renewed, and relentless, become its answer. Now we turn to the most invisible force in your transformation, thought. The rebuilding of self cannot occur until thought is purified, disciplined, and directed. Every man lives within the boundaries of his dominant thoughts. If those thoughts are vague, uncommitted, or shaped by outside influence, then his life will reflect that confusion. But the man who takes command of his thought, who refuses to let idle opinion, fear, or gossip influence the engine of his mind, he builds a fortress within. Understand this deeply. The mind is the workshop of creation. Every castle of success was first built in the invisible dimension of sustained, definite thought. You cannot cheat this law. You cannot pretend your way to elevation. You must think on purpose. You must think like the man you are becoming, not the one you've been. Your mind must become a laboratory of exact intention, not the kind that floats from desire to desire, but the kind that anchors itself in a central aim. Your aim must be defined in such exact detail that your mind cannot escape it, and then it must be repeated. Repetition is the chisel that engraves belief into the subconscious, and the subconscious, once impressed with clarity and conviction, begins to reshape your external world. This is not mysticism. This is law. The outer life of every man is a projection of his inner dominion. You either rule your mind or you serve your environment. The man who rules his thoughts becomes the man who attracts what once seemed impossible. But this level of mental command does not come to the lazy thinker. It is earned. It is forged through silence, reflection, and written purpose. The world will attempt to infect your mind with urgency, noise, fear, and doubt. You must become the guardian of your thought. You must think for yourself deeply and often. Most men only react. Great men reflect. The power to rebuild yourself comes from this ability to retreat into solitude and recalibrate your thinking. If your thoughts are cluttered, your results will be scattered. If your thoughts are aligned, Your power becomes focused. And focused power is the most unstoppable force in human development. Let me now speak to you about decision. Weak men postpone decisions. They need more evidence, more approval, more time. Strong men decide swiftly and change rarely. They trust their judgment. They rely on the definiteness of their purpose. Success does not linger around the indecisive. It flows toward the man who moves with clarity, even if that clarity feels risky. You do not become powerful by waiting for conditions to be safe. You become powerful by deciding, committing, and adjusting through action. Every strong decision you make reinforces your identity. And identity, my friend, is the foundation of lasting transformation. You cannot become the man success is looking for if you refuse to choose. Choose your standards. Choose your philosophy. Choose your associations. Choose your direction. Life is always demanding choice. When you do not choose, the world chooses for you, and rarely in your favor. Do not fear the burden of responsibility. The man who carries responsibility willingly becomes the man who commands respect. And respect, both internal and external, is built upon the strength of decisive thought followed by courageous action. Next, consider this. You cannot rebuild yourself while surrounded by weakness. You are not just rebuilding habits, you are rebuilding your standards. A man's standards determine what he tolerates, what he pursues, and what he becomes. Low standards lead to scattered energy, poor health, inconsistent behavior, and broken dreams. High standards create alignment, consistency, and discipline. Raise your standards, and you raise your results. But let me warn you, your current world will resist your rise. Those who once knew you may not understand your new convictions. Some will mock, others will distance, and many will try to pull you back into mediocrity. Let them go. The man you are becoming has no obligation to the comfort of those still asleep. Rebuilding yourself requires solitude, not isolation, but strategic solitude. Time alone is necessary to hear your own convictions without interference. The noise of the world is designed to numb you, to distract you from purpose. But when you retreat into silence, when you review your purpose and plan, you begin to hear with clarity the whispers of your own genius. The man who is never alone is a man who has never met himself. And how can you build what you have not yet met? Schedule solitude. Protect it. Use it to reflect, to plan, to recalibrate. Every titan of achievement has used silence as a weapon, and so must you. Understand now the role of time. Time is not just a measure, it is a currency. And most men waste it on transactions that yield nothing. You must treat your time as sacred. What you do with your hours, you do with your life. The man who allows distractions to control his minutes has surrendered his destiny in slow motion. You must plan your time with the seriousness of a general preparing for war. Not every invitation deserves your attention. Not every message requires a reply. Not every emergency is your problem. The man who masters time multiplies his productivity, deepens his impact, and accelerates his rebuilding. But time is not only about scheduling, it is also about presence. Too many men live fractured lives because their minds are scattered across 1,000 concerns. You must learn the art of present focus. The ability to be fully engaged in the task at hand without drifting into regret or speculation is one of the rarest forms of mastery. It is also one of the most powerful. When you are present, you are efficient. When you are present, you are aligned. And when you are aligned, you produce results that others can't replicate. Your energy is no longer leaking, it is concentrated. And concentrated energy rebuilds lives with precision. Let us now speak of failure. The average man fears failure. He sees it as proof that he should quit. But the superior man views failure as feedback. He studies it. He learns from it. He does not personalize it. To rebuild yourself, you must transform your relationship with failure. You must see it not as the end, but as a necessary teacher. Failure is not your enemy. Your interpretation of it, island. The man who rebuilds accepts that failure is not only possible, it is essential. For only through failure do you discover weakness. And only by discovering weakness can you replace it with strength. Let each failure refine you, not define you. Another pillar of rebuilding is responsibility. Not partial, not shared, total. You must assume full responsibility for your life. Not everything is your fault, but everything is your responsibility. This mindset transforms you from victim to victor. The man who takes responsibility for his circumstances gains the power to change them. Blame is easy, but powerless. Responsibility is hard, but transformative. You stop looking outside. Everything you need to rebuild exists within your reach, if you are willing to own it. Your thoughts, your habits, your associations, your responses, these are the levers. Pull them with courage, and you begin to shift your entire direction. Let me remind you again of belief. Belief is not an accessory to success. It is the fuel. Every action you take is filtered through your belief system. If your belief is strong, your efforts compound. If your belief is weak, even your best efforts collapse under doubt. Guard your belief like a treasure. Strengthen it daily. Speak to yourself with conviction. Read what builds you. Surround yourself with examples of strength, not signals of fear. Belief is not given, it is earned. And it is earned through repetition, action, and commitment. Believe deeply, and you will behave differently. Behave differently, and you will build differently. And now, discipline. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is a choice. Every day, you choose to either honor your standards or to violate them. And with every choice, you reinforce your identity. The man who keeps his word to himself becomes powerful beyond measure. He does not need motivation. He moves because he said he would. This is the essence of self-respect, following through on your own command. Do not wait to feel like it. Discipline is forged in the fire of resistance. The more you obey your standards, the stronger your will become. And the stronger your will, the faster your rebuild. The greatest lie the world tells you is that you have time. You don't. You have moments. And each moment wasted in hesitation, laziness, or distraction is a moment lost forever. The urgency to rebuild must not be reactive. It must be strategic. You must live like the man you are becoming is already watching you, because he island. Every day, you are either preparing to meet him or delaying his arrival. Live like your future self is real, because he island. He exists on the other side of your discipline, your standards, your solitude, your purpose. There is a moment in every man's life when he looks in the mirror and sees not just his reflection, but his responsibility. That moment is sacred. It is not the world's responsibility to change you. It is not your past's fault that you are where you are. It is not your family's duty to understand your journey. It is yours, all of it. And when you embrace that full responsibility, You no longer wait for opportunity, you become it. You no longer seek permission, you issue orders. You no longer seek validation, you live by your vision. This is the man success is drawn to. Not the one with the loudest talk, but the one with the deepest roots. When the storms come, and they will, the man who has rebuilt himself does not crumble, for he has built from within. His power is not in his possessions, not in his reputation, but in his self-command. He knows that no matter the external loss, he can recreate it. Because the source of his power was never outside, it was always within. You are becoming this man. Every day, every choice, every discipline is forming him. Do not stop. Do not look back. The world is watching. But more importantly, your future self is waiting. You have come far in this rebuilding. And yet, the greatest test is not in beginning, it is in continuing when the initial fire fades. The average man makes strong resolutions, writes grand plans, builds short-lived routines, but breaks at the first sign of resistance. Why? Because he does not understand that sustained effort, not burst of enthusiasm, builds a life of meaning. If you are to become the man success is seeking, you must outlast the thrill and lean into the discipline. You must show up on the days when motivation has abandoned you. You must act like the man you intend to be, not based on how you feel, but based on who you've decided to become. That decision must be final. There is no neutral ground in rebuilding. Each day, you either reinforce the new self or revive the old one. And the old self is cunning. It whispers comforts. It bargains with past pleasures. It offers rest disguised as recovery, distraction disguised as reward. Do not be deceived. The man you were is fighting for survival, but you, the builder of a new life, must be more committed than ever. You must remember your why. You must see your future self so vividly that every choice you make either feeds him or feeds your past, and only one can win. Let us speak now of endurance. Endurance is not merely persistence. It is intelligent resilience. It is continuing with adjustment, adapting without quitting, and refining without surrender. Many fall because they confuse failure with finality. But failure is often success in its earliest form. You are not failing when you adjust. You are not weak when you reflect and revise. Strength is found in the man who does not break under pressure, but bends only to return stronger. The road of rebuilding is paved with thousands of silent acts of endurance. No applause, no recognition, just the invisible, consistent mastery of self. If you are to become the man success cannot ignore, you must master the invisible. The world applauds results, but rewards only the process. The process is unseen, slow, and lonely, and yet it is sacred. The process is where belief is built. It is where character is tested. It is where distractions are silenced, and where your inner compass sharpens. Do not rush it. Do not resent it. Embrace it. It is molding you for the stage you have asked for. Those who bypass the process may appear to rise quickly, but they collapse just as fast. Build slow, build deep, and build unshakable. And as you endure, let your values harden. In a world addicted to trend and opinion, the man with principles stands alone, but stands tall. Do not trade what is eternal for what is popular. Do not dilute your standards for temporary applause. Your values are your anchor. They will keep you rooted when storms rise and temptations scream. Define them, write them, speak them to yourself, and above all, live them when no one is watching. The man who lives by values, not moods, becomes magnetic to all that matters. He commands respect without needing to demand it. In your rebuilding, you will face isolation, not by force, but by evolution. As your thinking expands, your environment may resist. As your habits sharpen, your associations may grow uncomfortable. Let them. You are not responsible for the comfort of those unwilling to grow. You are responsible for alignment. Alignment with your vision, your purpose, your calling. Do not shrink to keep others comfortable. Do not apologize for your ascent. The man who rebuilds must sometimes walk alone, not as punishment, but as preparation. For solitude reveals what the crowd conceals. And only in solitude can you develop the strength to lead without needing to be led. Now, consider mastery. Rebuilding is not about doing everything. It is about doing a few things deeply. The man who spreads his energy across 10 pursuits dilutes his power. The man who channels his force into a singular aim becomes unstoppable. Choose your field. Commit to your craft. Study relentlessly. Practice daily. Let the world underestimate you while you outwork, outlearn, and outperform in silence. Mastery is not given. It is earned in private, paid for in time, and sealed in blood, sweat, and failure. But once earned, it cannot be taken. It becomes your advantage in every room. Rebuilding is also about momentum. And momentum does not arrive. It is created. It begins with one disciplined act, one workout, one morning routine, one powerful thought, one decision honored. From that act, energy is born, and energy multiplies. But remember, momentum is fragile in its infancy. Neglect it, and it vanishes. Nurture it, and it transforms. Build your day around momentum. Stack small wins. Protect your routine. Eliminate unnecessary decisions. Automate the mundane. Reserve your willpower for the meaningful. The man who guards his momentum guards his greatness. He no longer starts over, he compounds. You must also understand influence. Rebuilding yourself means you will eventually influence others. Whether you intend to or not, your discipline becomes a mirror. Your transformation becomes a signal. People will either rise with you or resist you. Let that be their choice. Your duty is not to convince, but to become. Do not preach what you haven't practiced. Do not lead where you haven't walked. Become so rooted in truth, so disciplined in your habits, so unshakable in your presence, that others cannot look at you without questioning their own standards. Influence is not noise, it is weight. Carry it with integrity. Let us revisit vision. Without vision, rebuilding has no direction. Your vision must not be vague. It must be so clear that it fuels you in exhaustion. It must be so detailed that it eliminates doubt. Write it. Speak it aloud. Post it where you see it daily. Let it become the filter for every decision. If a habit does not align, remove it. If a person does not support it, distance them. If an action does not serve it, replace it. Vision without alignment is fantasy. But vision enforced by discipline is power. And that power makes you a force among men. Rebuilding also means confronting your fears. Not avoiding them, not numbing them, facing them directly. Success is not found beyond comfort. It is found through courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement in its presence. Identify what you avoid. Study it. Step toward it. Rehearse victory in your mind. Then act. You cannot build confidence through theory. You must build it through confrontation. The man who fears less is not braver. He is simply more familiar with the fire. Make fear your training ground. Each time you act in spite of it, your power grows. You must develop hunger. Hunger cannot be taught. It must be awakened. It is the refusal to be average. It is the roar beneath the silence. The fire behind the discipline. Hunger makes you dangerous. It keeps you moving when logic says stop. It fuels late nights, early mornings, and silent sacrifice. Feed it with winds. Feed it with purpose. Feed it with reflection. Never let it die. The man who is hungry cannot be tamed, and the world eventually bows to the man who refuses to starve while greatness is still on the table. Now we come to gratitude, not the soft kind that tolerates weakness, the sharp kind that turns pressure into privilege. Be grateful for pain, it trains your mind. Be grateful for discipline, it builds your spine. Be grateful for rejection, it redirects your aim. Gratitude shifts your perspective from victim to victor. The man who sees his struggle as a gift cannot be defeated. He no longer complains, he conquers. He no longer delays, he decides. Rebuilding yourself into the man's success requires this mindset. All things are useful. All pressure is practice. All losses are lessons. This is not optimism, it is power. Let us not forget consistency. Nothing you build matters if you cannot sustain it. Consistency is the quiet killer of doubt. It is the secret behind greatness. The man who repeats the fundamentals with obsession eventually surpasses the man with talent, but no repetition. Talent fades. Emotion fluctuates. But consistency endures. Make your habits sacred. Make your environment intentional. Build a routine so aligned with your purpose that skipping it feels unnatural. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about presence. Show up daily. Improve weekly. Evolve yearly. And in a decade, you will be unrecognizable. Finally, we arrive at self-respect. Everything we have discussed, the thoughts, the standards, the solitude, the values, the vision, they all point to this: respect for self. The man who respects himself does not need the world to validate him. He lives by internal command. He holds his promises. He protects his time. He honors his energy. He is not ruled by impulse, but by intention. He speaks less and does more. He apologizes only when wrong, but never for his ambition. And because he respects himself, success is drawn to him. Not out of pity, not out of chance, but out of alignment. This is the man you are becoming, brick by brick, thought by thought, habit by habit. Each day, you are stepping into alignment with the life you once only imagined. And though the world may not yet recognize your power, you do. You see it in your discipline. You feel it in your solitude. You hear it in your thoughts. You carry it in your walk. You are no longer chasing success. You are becoming the man it cannot ignore. Do not stop now. You have momentum. You have identity. You have power. Protect it. Refine it. Multiply it. Your time is no longer ahead of you, it is within you. And the world is waiting for a man who has rebuilt himself in silence, forged himself in fire, and emerged not needing recognition but commanding it by presence alone.